Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2013 preview of the Texas Bowl between the Syracuse Orange and the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Orange. The Syracuse Orange are a young football team that has dealt with injuries and inconsistencies all season long. And in this game versus Minnesota, offensively speaking, it's all about possessions and being able to maximize them. When you look at the way the Gophers try to own the TOP, it's important for running back Jerome Smith, quarterback Terrell Hunt and company to not only sustain drives, but come away with points. Defensively, the pass D has been an issue, but the good thing is that the Golden Gophers aren't a pass-heavy team, may not even be a pass-sometimes team, which plays right into the strength of what the Orange do well, and that's stopping the run. So look for the secondary to be very active in run support, as they are vital to defensive success this week versus Minnesota. Now let's move over to Minnesota in this ball game. A spectacular season for the Golden Gophers, considering the issues they've dealt with by having head coach Jerry Kill hospitalized during the season, and they stayed the course en route to an 8-4 finish. Now this week versus Syracuse, the biggest goal offensively will be to win the battle in the trenches. The Orange defensive line does a great job in getting interior penetration while showing good flow to the football by their linebacking core to stop the run. And this offense can't afford to be in many second and long and third and long situations, otherwise they're going to struggle. Now defensively versus Syracuse, who runs a lot of power, you look at those defensive linemen, those linebackers being able to shed blocks and make plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. That's going to be the biggest key defensively, because just like Minnesota, Syracuse doesn't want to throw the football more often than they have to. So it's important that that defensive line and those linebackers are able to stop the run. Like I said before, it has to come with shedding blocks and making plays at or behind the line of scrimmage. So your fundamentals will have to be key in order to knock off Syracuse. The X factor for the Orange will be their offensive rhythm. If Terrell Hunt in that passing game can get it going early, we know they can run the football. It's going to make them that much tougher to defend. So that's why I believe offensive rhythm for Syracuse will be the biggest X factor in this bowl game. And the X factor for the Golden Gophers will be how well they defend the power running game of Syracuse. We know the Orange love to put those offensive linemen on the move. You're going to see a lot of power lead. You're going to see a lot of counter. If those linebackers of Minnesota are not ready at the line of scrimmage to make plays at or behind it, they're going to struggle in this ball game. So that's why I believe the X factor will be how well they defend the run and ultimately determine how well they do in the ball game, especially on defense. Now here are some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For Minnesota, Philip Nelson, the quarterback, using his arm to loosen up that box. He's going to have to hit plays early in the passing game, because we know Minnesota wants to just run the football and chew up that TOP, but they're going to have to make plays throwing the football, because Syracuse does a great job in slowing down the running game. And they have to play great team defense versus that Syracuse Orange offensive attack. 11 guys to the football. You can't try to make one-on-one tackles versus those outstanding tailbacks. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself getting beat. And they have to excel on special teams. You have to win 2 out of the 3 phases of a football game. That's offense, defense, and special teams. And you don't want to give an offense that's struggling a short field to work on, because they can ultimately turn it into points. And for Syracuse in this ball game, the biggest battle they're going to have to win in the passing game is with wide receiver Ashton Broyle going against Brock Vereen, the outstanding corner of Minnesota. Broyle is a guy that's 6'4", 220 pounds, so he's going to have to win those individual matchups versus the Golden Gophers' top corner. And they also have to have early down and distance success on defense. Remember, this is a Golden Gopher team that struggles to throw the football with consistency. They want to run it first, second, and third, and if you can win on the early down and distances and back this offense up, you can win this ball game. And I would also go aggressive versus that running game. Again, trying to get these guys in second and long and third and long situations could lead you to success and ultimately winning the Texas Bowl. Now here are some 2014 draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. For Minnesota, Rashid Hageman is one of the best defensive players in the country, an ideal one tech at 6'6", 311 pounds. You also look at cornerback Brock Vereen, very impressive skill set, 6 feet, 200 pounds. A guy that does a great job in both ends of coverage. That's man and also off coverage. And I'm also a big fan of David Cobb, the junior tailback, 5'11", 225, shows outstanding vision and does a great job in finishing runs. And for Syracuse, you look at tackles Sean Hickey and what he can bring to the table. Very long arms, first of all, and I think he can play on both ends of the offensive line, both left tackle as well as right tackle. Jerome Smith has already declared for the draft, runs with great burst, 6 feet, 226 pounds. And also keep an eye on 2 seniors on the defensive side of the football, Jay Bromley, the defensive tackle, and Marquise Spurrell, 6'1", 224. Some say he's undersized. I say he's a playmaker that definitely has a spot at the next level. In the inaugural Texas Bowl back in 2006, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights took on the Kansas State Wildcats, and it was a Ray Rice show as he ran for 170 yards and a touchdown en route to winning the game's MVP as the Scarlet Knights defense pitched a second half shutout, winning 37-10. In the 1992 Hall of Fame Bowl, the Syracuse Orangemen took on the Ohio State Buckeyes led by quarterback Kirk Herbstreit. Now, Syracuse jumped out to an early 14-0 lead and never looked back as quarterback Marvin Graves hit wide receiver Antonio Johnson on a 60-yard strike to knock off Ohio State 24-17. The 1962 Rose Bowl featured the Minnesota Golden Gophers led by quarterback Sandy Stevens and defensive tackle Bobby Bell against the UCLA Bruins. Now, the Golden Gophers defense was in control the entire ball game, only allowing a first quarter field goal, and Minnesota quarterback Sandy Stevens was the game's MVP as the Gophers won 21-3. Art Monk is definitely a campus legend for the Syracuse Orange. He's a guy that was a 4-year letter winner. In 3 consecutive seasons, he led the team in receiving and still ranks in the top 10 in most categories. Now, he came into Syracuse as a running back, so he played running back, receiver, also was an excellent kickoff and punt returner. And versus Navy in 1977, he caught 14 passes for over 180 yards, and in 1979 was the consensus first-team All-American and was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2012. It was a career first for Sandy Stevens, the outstanding quarterback from 1958 to 1961, the first African-American quarterback in school history, and was also the first African-American quarterback to be named consensus All-American at the major college level. He was also the last quarterback to lead the Golden Gophers to the Rose Bowl, and in 1960 he led that team to a national championship and finished 4th in the Heisman Trophy in 1961, and in 2011 he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. I like Minnesota in this ball game. This is a very physical football team, and they do a great job in controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And I think that defensive line, as well as that offensive front, will give Syracuse problems. So I like Minnesota to come away the 2013 Texas Bowl champions.